Okay, let's do a quick sound check. Want to make sure sound is coming through. I think it is. Michael, how are you? Good to see you. Okay, I think we're good to go. Okay, so hey, thank you everybody. Okay, guys, let's get started here. Welcome to the trading room. My name is Saul. Glad to be with you. As always, before we get started, please remember we're gonna be trading live market conditions. So anything I show here is not meant to be buy or sell signal on any instrument, any time frame. You need to be responsible for your own trading. Please do not follow along. This is for educational purposes only. I do want to walk you through my process and maybe show you some principles on trade management and pattern recognition and psychology. And as I out loud my thoughts, maybe you can pick up something to apply to your own situation, but always, do what you think is best and follow your strategies. And with that, let's start. Let's share my screen here. So before we jump into another account and we start a little bit more active trading, we are in a very unique spot today on the Euro USD, and I think I'll be focusing on Euro USD. As we finally traded at the parity level, okay, which is the 10000 level, which has a lot of implications in terms of fundamentals and macroeconomics and everything. We will not go in depth into those topics, but we are seeing the reaction of touching that level. And if we analyze when was last time that we traded at those levels, we can see it was way back at 2002, so 20 years. It is, if we see how we had this impulse. I'm on the monthly charts, okay, but we can see it even here. So we see the impulse, the flagging, and then the impulse. And since that touch, we had a very important trading years and a lot of time passed before we went back to that level. That means that's a very strong demand area, and it's a mid-range demand. Okay, so it's a let me throw the other line. It's a mid-range level. Okay, we have this little area there. Let's mark it out, which will work as mid-range supply. That's a it's about 380 or 400 pips, okay, of range, which price will not just go and straight break that. I don't think so. We might see a little bit of bouncing of that area before we break through, if we're going to break through. And finally, if we do break through, we will be aiming towards the extreme demand, which is all this area down there. As we zoom in a little bit more, okay, let's go to the dailies. We see we a few years ago we were approaching that area. Okay, we broke. I think we spoke about it. Okay, we broke about that nice support there. We created a fresh supply there, so it's a lot of the trend is clearly downward. The momentum is clearly to the downside. We broke aggressively. We bounced of the area, okay, on an attempt stop the movement down. However, that failed to continue and to start a movement to the upside, and we have traded yesterday and today to the downside. Right now, okay, we were at the parity level and we're reacting towards that level. Those are very strong psychological levels. I guess even you experience with your own currencies when a dollar against your currency approaches a round number. You want to be, you perceive that as expensive or cheap, and you want to go and either sell or buy dollars against your currency. So it works the same, but in a very large scale. There will be people taking advantage of the the cheap euro in order to buy euros against the dollar, and so if we go and see the price action towards the parity, we can see it was not an impulse. Okay, and it's very important to start training our eyes on how price action forms. We have the breaking area of the support we're commenting. Okay, that's a very nice impulse, and that creates supply. And see the difference with this movement right here. So that's a compression. Okay, that's a channel. That's a weak movement towards the parity. So if there's going to be demand here, we can expect strong movement to the upside, since there will be no supply across all this channel in order to stop that movement to continue to the upside. Anyways, the bias and the momentum, everything is still to the downside. So if I go to lower time frames, I do want to be aligning myself to the downside. If I see we're overextending, but if we go again to the low side, I will be trying to buy again. Okay, so that's kind of my work frame for today. These are, by the way, the long-term setups account we've been following. I'm doing well. Fortunately, our dashboards are down at the moment, so I cannot show you the progress, but I'm very close to the end of it. So I would show you the stats behind, but it's looking good. I have around 10 trades left or something like that, and all the parameters are met, so I'm happy about that. So let's jump into another account so we can start doing some trading here. And okay, so let's do our analysis now on the 5-minute chart. Okay, so I do expect we mentioned on the hourlies, we mentioned the compression. Now we need to make sure, if we're going to be trading the short side, that there's going to be some resistance, okay, to hold that movement to the upside. And if we're going to be trading the long side, we want to make sure there will be some support behind to hold those levels. So right now I'm at the very top. There's no point on buying right now. Okay, if I'm going to be buying, I need to wait for this to come a little bit lower, and then I'll start building a little bit of longs. We do not have any news today or something, so I don't expect, without any fundamentals, to break the parity level, which is down here. So as long as we're if we're moving to the downside, as long as we stay above the parity level, I will be building long positions. I would expect for a fundamental level something to make the movement to break the lows. Okay, so I'll be scalping and I'll be building some long positions as we push lower. Let me just this. Why? What's going on? I want to make the profit. It's not giving me. I want to see the profit as points and not as Okay, I don't know why it's not giving it to me. There you go. Profit as points. Okay. We're also on a day without a lot of volatility, so I will be looking to do some scalping of the account. So I will slowly build into some positions, and I'll look for a lot of entries in the market, and I'll start building some positions. So let's hang in there. And you will see me off the 1 minute chart. You will see me making a lot of trades, and taking profits, closing trades, and constantly bringing money into the account. Okay, on the 5 minute chart, I find this a little bit overextended as we approach the resistance. So I'm looking for a deeper pullback before we do either a retest of the highs or a break to the upside. That's why on my 1 minute entry, I entered here at the lows, and I closed at the most recent resistance. Okay, so if we get a new low, I will again build some longs. So let's just wait a little bit. Let's see how price behaves. And my whole range, then my whole trading range will be, if I'm aiming for the longs, around 60 pips. Okay, I don't think I'll be holding a single position longer than that, but that's what I have to be willing to risk. Okay, so there we go again. Let's buy again at support. That now I'll start very small, because this should break. This should pull back deeper to the upside before a more important movement to the upside. So I'm kind of expecting this to go lower, and then I will build stronger. And that's why I start very, very small. Forex long-term euro buy, long-term on my lower time frames. On the higher ones, if we see even the dailies, it's really a question of what you call a long-term. Okay, because I think it will take a long time on the dailies to reverse. Okay, so I do think long-term we're way oversold, and we should start seeing a leg to the upside, but that might take weeks from now. So the time perspective of each one of us is very different. So as long as on the dailies, as long as we're below this supply right there, okay, that's if we understand trends the classic way, so that's our last pivot, or maybe this one. So as long as we stay below those, we're technically on a downtrend. Okay, only a break above those would create the first higher low or higher high. So but for that to happen, it will not go straight to the upside. It will move up and down and up and maybe even lower, and then will eventually break to the upside, okay, for a full reverse pattern. So I need to stay biased to the downside, but when I go to the very small time frames, we have opportunities to make money both sides. Okay, so yeah, so if I was thinking of very 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 long, months ahead, I would be buying Euro USD. But for trading purposes, okay, short-term income, I want to be playing both sides, short side, upside, okay, everything. Okay, we're breaking off this little range. We're stocked. Okay, if we break, I would expect a movement to this area. So I'll probably add a little bit more around that area, and then a bit more there, and then for the 1 minute chart, my last buying line would be there. And I will see how price behaves in that line, because depending on how that breaks that line, we might either go very very strong to the downside, or no, we do have some more levers back here, okay, to hold a break to the downside. But I'll wait and see how price gets to that line, if it gets to that line, and then I'll decide if I hold on building my longs, or I start closing a little bit of closing for losses, I believe some of them, before I restart buying at lower prices. Okay, so let's just watch. Okay, it is something. It's very important how price arrives to certain area is as important as the area it arrives to. Okay. I really want to wait. There's nothing here to stop this to move lower. So I want to be patient, wait for this next level, and then I'll add. Okay, that's not a very strong level. Okay, this one is a stronger one. So I'll add a little bit there. I'll add more there, and then I will add on the lows. Okay, let's start adding. Okay, and you see the reaction. It's amazing, huh? I drew a line and it react to that. Okay, let's see if there's some reaction. Now my targets for this setup, my scalp target is at the highs. Okay, at resistance. If I see price reverse and starts picking momentum to the upside, then I will consider swinging this for longer. Okay, we saw the reaction to the line. Okay, that's the resistance, reaction, and failed to turn. Okay, so that's a weak level. So I added, but I added, a little bit. Now, this movement is getting overextended to the downside, which is good. After an overextension, we tend to see a turn, but I will add more into the turn down at this, this area around there. Okay, there's a little demand on the 1 minute chart, so now I wait. Wait, we see how we start moving. It starts, losing momentum. This candle and this candle. Now let's see if we pick momentum to the upside, to the downside, which is what we're doing now. Let's start adding a little bit. And this way, I'm trying to get into the best entry price with my maximum lot size available. Okay. Remember, on any single setup, I don't want to be risking more than a certain percentage. Let's say, I don't know, 0.5% or 1%. So this is a large account. I don't want to be risking more than $500 per setup. So if I see my trade is going, way against me, I will need to fix my lot size. Okay, so I also need to be aware of that. Okay, now this movement is overextended. I expect a turn or a stop and a reaction around that area. Let's see if that happens. And if not, I will need to find a way to kind of fix this setup, because it's not, my setup from the 5-minute chart is a pullback and then a retest of the lows. If this goes and goes straight to the lows, that's a different setup. What I was expecting to happen, a pullback and retest, is now turning into a range, a sideways movement, which is a different approach, a different setup, which is fine, but it's not what I planned for. So I'll need to reallocate my lot size and my, the objective of my whole setup. So let's see if we can get a little reaction of this area. Okay, this is a deeper pullback than I was expecting. but this overextended as well. So I'm waiting for the reaction of this area to the overextension to see if we have a little bit of reaction. And if I feel I'm a little bit more overexposed with my lot size or something, once price goes back to my break-even line, I can reduce on my exposure, okay, reduce on my lot size. But again, we'll watch this together and we'll see how price is behaving, and we'll decide if we hold into the trade, reduce exposure, take profits, take losses. We'll do it together. Okay, so the overextension is stopping now. Okay, we're moving sideways. For my setup, I need a reaction to the upside. Okay, if now this stops at at this same level. Okay, so let's see how precise it is. But then breaks to the downside. Okay, I need to start fixing my trade. Okay, my objective for the setup is reducing exposure and reallocating my entry into a better entry point. Okay, so let's see how price behaves. There's the attempt. There's the buyer's attempt. There will be a little bit of resistance there, but let's see if from the break of this range, if buyers can push this a little bit to the upside. Have a little mental stop loss at that line. If price reacts to this resistance and goes down there, it will more likely go all the way to the low. So I will reduce a little bit of my lot size, my exposure, so I'm not holding the full 2 lots. It's not a lot, okay, but if I will try to reduce a little bit of that exposure, so I don't have to carry all that full 2 lot into the next level. Okay, so I'll see how we react there, and if we see we're breaking this line there, I might reduce a little bit of my lot size for a loss. Okay, this is something we need. I'm always practicing, okay, taking partial losses, not only partial winners. Okay, so also partial losses. Charles, if it goes down more, could be head and shoulders. Where you see the head and shoulders? At what levels you identify the the head and shoulders. Okay, you just saw me taking a little bit of loss, okay? And I might reallocate that if I see there's now reaction, okay, and that's a false breakout. I might reallocate that into it, okay? But in case this breaks to the low side, I don't want to be carrying my full lot size into the next level. Okay, now once that turned into a false breakout, I reallocate that. Okay, I was at 1.2, I reallocate that into into 2. Okay, now really need to see a follow through to the upside, which is not happening. So I'll keep watching. You mean this will be the leg line of a whole head and shoulders? Yeah. Yeah, it might be. That's why I want to be careful with how exposed I go towards that line. Okay, now we see indecision. We see false breakout, false breakout. This is a very important candle. Okay, now the break of these lows or that high will be decisive for what could be the next movement. And I just need the market to move. Okay, that's the turning bar on the 5-minute chart. Indecision. That's not my preferred one. We're on an attempt to turn on the 5-minute chart. So that's my initial setup on my 5-minute chart, which is deeper than I thought. Okay, but for my setup purposes, that was the initial setup I was looking for. Okay, the pullback and the potential retest of the highs. Now let's see if that happens. I have a mental stop at the low of that line. Okay. Nice. Okay, now remember we had this range. Okay, now that's a supply. Okay, on the 1-minute chart. So my target area needs to be between there and there. Okay, that's the scalp area. So maybe if we go to that line, I might take a little bit of a win just to compensate the little loss I took back here. So I compensate that, and then I'll see how we behave, and I'll let the rest go if it goes. Okay, I keep reading price real time, and I keep getting new information from it, and and I adapt from it. Okay, now this candle turning into a bullish candle, that would be great for my trade. Okay, if we leave the tail on the low side and continue higher, that would build momentum to the high side. If this retracts and goes all the way and breaks the previous candle low, very bad signal for my setup. Okay, and then I need to readapt. Okay, readjust my trade, readjust my lot size, because what I was hoping to happen, the turn, it's just now being negated. Okay, by this candle here. Okay, it feels like there's, the bearish momentum is coming into the game. Okay, the setups to the downside are failing. I'm sorry, the setups for the upside are failing now. So a deeper pullback than expected. Now they're rejecting the turn. So I need to be mindful of that, because this whole picture might turn into a bearish picture. Okay, so I just want to keep that in mind. Now see, okay, for this setup, this is my setup. Okay, I'm currently $17 down. Okay, this is this actual position. Okay, so I need to come on, break that resistance. So we went back, we retest the breaking area. I really need to see follow through. If you get signals of lack of confidence, that gives you lack of confidence on your setup, of course you can go ahead and reduce exposure, reduce lot size. That's nice. I want to see follow through at least to that area. We should be testing those levels. Okay, there we go. Okay, that's the low part of the scalp target. Let's see if we scalping target. Let's see if we can get all the way to the highs. And if we gain momentum, we might try to swing. Okay, we might try to swing the target. Now, remember that red line? That was a mental stop. Now, there's no need to keep this as a mental stop. Okay, there's no. Okay, it makes no. We should not let this. Okay, a winning trade, what's currently a winning trade, turn into a losing trade. Okay, so. I don't have any pivot point, so maybe the low of that bar, that would be a good level, so I reduce exposure by lots. Now I will have a mental target all around that area. Okay, so I'll read now price action and see if we have chances to break through, or we're going to stop there, and then I'll decide if I swing or if I but at least this turns again into a bullish short-term market. Okay, not a lot of volatility today, not a lot of momentum. I think I'll go ahead and close the setup. Okay, let's see. That was a $111 profit. So I started with a loss, with a small loss, and I ended up with a nice win. Okay, not great, but that's a nice win. But given the fact, okay, and I think this is crucial, given the fact that I started my building all the way there, and the market came against me, and I added a little bit there, and came against me, and I kept adding. Okay, so I put myself in the situation where I was with my maximum volume at the very best entry price. Okay, which is good, and that's what I'm trying always to do. Now I see how we're losing momentum, so that's why I prefer to close. And if I see there's a pullback now, and we approach maybe this level or this level right here, I will build again my long positions, but I will not hold my win, okay, my win at the highs into a break-even trade again, just in order to probably see it going up again. So in case this goes down, now I have booked a little bit of profit, and then I can rebuild my position. Okay, that's the idea. I don't see a lot of momentum in the market. So we have nice ranges, but we formed a higher low, which is a bullish signal, but we are now forming a lower high, which is a sell signal. So we might get into a kind of something like that. We start pressing, and we're going to trade into a smaller and smaller range, which eventually will break to either side. Okay, but if this is consolidating, this is not trending anymore, then I want to adapt my trading into what the market is doing currently. Okay, so that's why I prefer taking profits and then either short or wait for the market to go down and then buy again. I hope that makes sense, guys. If it doesn't, just keep coming, and you will see it again and again. Okay, very nice questions here. How many pips do you target below the potential top for take profit? So it really depends on price action, okay, on the whole area. So my entry areas, stop areas, okay, my entries, stops, and targets are always areas, okay? They're never lines and specific targets. So this area, okay, this area right here was a little, okay, once that broke to the downside that aggressively, it formed a new supply. So when I was building longs down here and aiming for that area, okay, the whole area is a valid take profit area. Okay, so the low part of the supply area, that's kind of the easy target. The high part of the area, that's the, you know, achievable, but the market will struggle a little bit more to get there. Okay, but it's a valid area. That's fine if you aim to that area. Now, given the context of the market and seeing that there's a lot of, you know, both buying pressure but as also sell pressure, so I just don't see right now this market turning immediately into a, you know, very bullish market and going to the tops, or maybe to the, you know, very to the highs. So that's why, you know, with new information, I, you know, decide to take partial profits, partial losses. Yeah, that's the way I trade. If you, Jesse, if you tend to go more aggressive and look for full profits and your stops are break even, that's just fine. Just many times, we say, okay, let's say I was doing for that, okay, doing the same. So my take profit, okay, my break even line would be there, and my take profit, let's say, is there. So price is not going to my take profit, not there and not up there, but it might very easily might go and stop me out because I want to be risk free of the trade. Okay, so I trail my stock to break even. So I do not make money, do not bank profits into the account, but also didn't make, you know, I did nothing essentially. So depending on price action, and there's a lot of factors to make the right decision, which is not always easy, but with some practice you tend to understand if you should be more aggressive and greedy and letting trades run for longer, especially if you're in trending markets. Right now I just don't see the trend, especially not to the upside. Okay, we're just going down. So that's it, guys. I think we'll wrap up. That was that's an okay setup. Okay, wouldn't. You know, the market is it's not moving a lot, but hopefully you saw the process of how I build trade. Now that's a model I just show you. I use it in all time frames. Okay, my long-term setups I build the same way. Okay, so hopefully you saw a fast forward version of what I do in my long-term setups as well. Okay, which is, you know, building positions. Okay, managing long-term scenarios and not just very rigidly going in and going out. Okay, just reading market, reading price action, and reacting to it. Okay, guys, we'll wrap up here. Thanks for coming. Thanks for staying. Nice. Okay, it was a fun session. Keep coming, and see you next week. Okay, guys. All right. Thank you, guys. See you. Bye bye.